on paper is like $200, but if you do like a capex and vacancies and everything, so basically like cash flow even after like those kinds of things.
Right,
so,
vacancies, ventures. Okay.
And you put that aside. So
It's not a bad first deal. I've heard a lot worse. That's for sure.
Yeah, so.
What does that very first deal look like when you got involved?
So when I first started, there was a bunch of fumbles because when you're a brand new investor, you don't know anything, right? I didn't know how lending works. I didn't know like borrowing money. I didn't know about hard money. I didn't know all these different things. And so like, I actually I tried to buy a few in the very beginning that ended up like not working. And I pissed off this lender because I didn't know what I didn't know and like doing things that you weren't supposed to do. And I wasn't just aware of it. But eventually it came down to we just trying to like find deals. And so like, there was like some forums where you can like talk to other investors and stuff. And I met this wholesaler who was wholesaling like real estate properties in out-of-state Indianapolis, of all places. And so I work and live in Hawaii, and I'm familiar with Hawaii, but there's other markets where the cash flow on average is like actually like a little bit better. And so like after doing like a little bit of research, I found like there's a bunch of markets where you can buy houses for like a lot cheaper in Hawaii, and then they'll actually like rent for like similar or like just a little bit less. So then you can like purchase these houses and it'll be cash flow positive versus like, let's say like in Hawaii, you buy $1 million house, you can rent it for like $3,000 maybe, right? In Indianapolis, you can buy like $100,000 house and rent it for $1,000. So then like the spread between your rent and your mortgage is actually like pretty decent on these kinds of markets. And so for that reason and a bunch of other reasons, I chose to go out of state for my first investing, just to use a burst strategy and to try and build up a passive income and rental portfolio. So first deal, bought it from off a wholesaler actually. So.
Did you take a rehab or what did it
Yeah,
look?
so I mean, it was in the very beginning, I didn't have any money. So in local banks in Hawaii, you can do this thing called a personal line of credit. So then they'll take you, like you just bring your tax return and then your credit score, and they'll give you like between 20 to like 15 to like 30 grand in just like an unsecured line of credit. So on one day I went to just 5 banks and said hey, I want to take out a personal line of credit. Bank of Hawaii, First Hawaiian, Central Pacific, the 5 guys all around Ala Moana. And then I got 20, 15, 30, 15, 20. And so I got 100 something in just lines of credit to do my first deal in Indianapolis. And it wouldn't be close to do a deal in Hawaii, but in Indianapolis, that money goes a little bit farther, right? So first deal in Indianapolis, the guy was selling it for 70 grand and it was a fixer. And so bought it cash, sight unseen, basically pictures, and I had other guys walk it, right? I called around and do the references, and so purchase price $70,000, and so that was their beginning.
What about the rehab?
So we hired a contractor. The rehab turned out to be about $30,000. Okay. And then long story short, working out of state, there's challenges working with the contractor. At the very end, it kind of fell apart. I had to pull in a project manager to kind of help me finish the job. But basically $30,000 total rehab. And it's kind of crazy because number one, that growing up in Hawaii, I only know $1 million houses. That's just what a house costs. And so the fact that you can buy a house for $70,000, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,200 square feet, it's crazy to me. And then even the rehabs, $30,000, the brand new interior 3-2 with a garage and new roof, is for $30,000 at least in 2019 anyway. And so to me, the numbers are just super crazy. But I mean, so $30,000 rehab, and then after it was all fixed up, we found a renter, renting it for a little over $1,000, and then we went to the bank to refinance it. Long story short, the first appraisal came back at $70,000, which is exactly what I bought it for. This does not make sense. So looking at my comps, so looking at the appraisers, what he's using for his data, he had there was a guy that was sold it for $60,000, right down the street from me, but it was on the market right now for $150,000. So a flipper had bought a fix-up house and it was selling for $150,000 now. So obviously it's not it wasn't a good for right, or you need to adjust for the current value. And there's another house similar, and so I appealed the appraisal with the appraiser, and then long story short, he agreed with my appeal, and it appraised for $140,000 after that. So it went from $70,000 to $140,000.
And so you're able to pull
out $105,000, yeah. So I got all my cash out from that first one. Rented it out, did my first burn. I was okay, I'm hooked. Let's do more of these.
What was your cash flow on that first deal?
So it's renting a little over $1,000. My mortgage, PI and TI about $700, about $100 to my property management. So on paper is $200, but if you do like a capex and vacancies and everything, so basically like cash flow even after like those kinds of things.
Right,
So,
vacancies, ventures. Okay.
and you put that aside. So
It's not a bad first deal. I've heard a lot worse. That's for sure.
So.